Hi, I'm Daz. I'm the producer of Drift, and this week has been a busy week here. I've got John with me, who's behind me at the moment. Say hi, John. Yeah, he's not allowed to look at us because he's too busy working. But the key word that we've been operating under this week has been outsourcing. What does that mean? Well, outsourcing is where you try and push out work to people outside of perhaps your immediate group, your dream team, to try and get things done more quickly and at the same time. And principally that's about visual effects, certainly in this element of the production now we're near the final stages. But it's not as simple as just pushing out stuff. We do like little adverts and stuff on YouTube, going on social sites, asking people to help us, show them some clips of the movies so far and all the rest of it. And we make like a little video so they can sort of see what we're after, and also to kind of sort of set the tone and the rules, as it were. So one is that no one gets paid. Big deal, because sometimes people contact us and they don't get that, and as soon as they find out that we're not paying them, it's like, see ya, which understandable, but I'd rather avoid that in the first place. So it's kind of setting those things out. Also the sort of the types of work that we're pushing out, and also the time frame of how we want the stuff to be brought back and how quickly. And you've probably seen that video anyway online. So that's all well and good, and that's relatively easy to do. But the thing that's more complex is the amount of setting up that's taken before we did that, and what we're still doing at the moment, which is having learned from our mistakes in the past, that before you ask people for help, you've got to have everything, you've got to have all your ducks in a row and everything you need, so that as soon as they say, yeah, I'm happy to help, you can give them something. Because we found that generally when people say that they're available to help us with effects, they're available right now. It's no good going to them, oh thanks for that, we'll contact you in 2 weeks with some shots. They may not be ready in 2 weeks. And a good example of that is that this is probably the third time we've asked people for help with visual effects, and each time a completely different set of people have replied. So people that before may have been interested but didn't have the time have replied this time, and so on. So it's really important to make sure that you've got everything done and ready to push out as soon as people say they're available. And that's not easy, because with visual effects, some of the shots require several different elements to make the final shot. So if it's a blue screen background, the actual image that you're putting in the background, tracking the shot, that kind of thing. And some shots can't even be done until another shot has already been done before. So for example, we're doing a lot of CGI work, spaceships flying and stuff. That's not giving too much away, I'm sure. But we can't have certain other effects, for example, like instrument displays or something like that, or in cockpit displays looking out the windows, until we know exactly what the ship is going to do. So there are still some shots we still can't push out. So it's trying to identify, despite the fact we've got best part of 800 shots left to go, which ones can we give out. So that's the strategy. That's what we've been doing since the last push out. So about 5 weeks, the last sort of 5 weeks, we've been working all that out, ready to now push stuff out. So now we are, and we have pushed stuff out. So this week, for example, we've got 35 shots have gone out. I've got about 7 have already come back in 3 days. It's a 4-day turnaround. And what's important now is that I maintain sort of dialogue with these guys who are from all over the world. Make sure they're happy, make sure they can do what they need to do. There's been a few little hiccups along the way. There's a few little bits and bobs that weren't tested, in terms of not the actual shot, but the mechanics of getting them the clip that they need, and the project file they need, and the information they need, and direction they need. Some of it we missed, which is, when you've got 800 shots to deal with, that's fair enough, you might not miss some of them. So, but we were able to pick up the ball quite quickly. So as soon as someone said that they couldn't find a clip, or they couldn't find a shot, or the instructions weren't clear, my dream team of people were able to respond very quickly and keep that momentum going, because it's all about striking when the iron is hot. When someone says they're available to help, you've got to use them straight away. Otherwise, they're just going to go. So that's what's been happening, and what John's doing at the moment has been a couple of things. One is that is preparing other stuff. So the idea is, once we had a couple of types of shots we could push out, we started the advertising, and now we've got a few more. John's been working on a few sort of templates and a few other bits and bobs that we can now push out again to the guys. The other thing we've sort of been doing this week as well are the more sort of bespoke, more complex shots. And while John's been up here, we've been able to sort of look at those together and work on those together. As much as you can do it on the internet and all that kind of thing, that's all well and good. But there's no substitute for being in the same place, because when you're in a hangout or whatever, you're very focused on dealing with the hangout. As much as you can have it set in the background, it's still not quite the same as just being here all the time. And then you can just jump in and jump out and get on with your own work, help each other out with whatever work you're doing, and then get back on with your own work again. So, so we've had to sort of concentrate on those more sort of bespoke, complex shots. And again, that's setting things up for the future as well, because once we figure out how to do a certain type of shot or how to design a certain type of look and feel, we can pass that out as well. So that's also very helpful. And the last sort of thing in terms of all this outsourcing and preparing is that hopefully there'll be people out there who are really passionate, but not just people who want to do the shots because the film's exciting, they want stuff for their showreel, and that's really brilliant, because we absolutely need those types of people, we want those types of people, and it's an opportunity for those types of people to be involved in a very big project, and that's really brilliant because that's why we're all doing it. But the other thing is that if there's some people out there who want a bit extra, we have got a couple of guys who since have started doing just some chroma keying, and I say just chroma keying, I can't do chroma keying, but just chroma keying or tracking, and now moving on to more complex shots, and we've got a good communication dialogue. They go on Hangouts with us, they use Google Talk. Skype's okay, but it's not as good for conferencing and stuff unless you want to pay for it, so we stick with Google for good or for bad. It's free, hey, and it works. But these guys who are good communicators and are experienced with After Effects, that's a great combination, and they're now working on more juicy visual effects, because the more juicy they are, the more specific they are, the more you need to talk to them, because you can't just say get rid of all the green. You've got to really get down into the storytelling, and that's the really good thing. We're finding people who are jumping up and saying, well, look, I'll do all these masking shots, these rotoscoping shots, all this other stuff, but if there's anything more juicy I can get involved with, I can hang out and we can talk about it. And that's good too, because obviously they're growing, we're growing, the production is getting bigger, so that's been good. So the next sort of few weeks now is going to be devoted on dealing with working with these guys, trying to recruit more, and just trying to get as many of these shots put to bed as much as we can, and really let the storytelling come out in those shots as well. So it's been good. John, get on with your work. Stop skiving. Just get on with it. Just
Yes.
Just press buttons and move screens and stuff. That's how we do it, isn't it? That's how you do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Press the make
Yeah.
film button.
Do you want a cup of tea, John?
Um,
I'll make you a cup of tea. Okay.